and you have an anchor inside. You click in the link, and automatically I was scrolled to the anchor that was in the URL. Another thing that now that we liberated the fragment, we can personalize that scroll. We already did it for one of our applications, that is settings. So if you go to the settings, you open cell settings, we put in the fragment which settings you are seeing. So if I receive another email told me about to change something in the setting of account, I can click directly and open the setting of account. But you can go further about this. You can, for instance, in the setting application, say, I want you to modify a specific setting, an ID of a specific setting. So you just, in this case, is the email alias setting. You just click on that setting, and it's going to scroll and show you which setting you asked for. And what about multi-company? You all remember we have CIDs in the URLs. A big issue with the CIDs in URLs, if I'm connected to 5 companies, somebody send me a link with only one company, I click in the link, I was disconnected of all the one. I'm connected to one company, you send me a link with another one, I click, I have an error message. So we just remove the CIDs. And how it works now? I'm going to close settings up. I can be in a company that doesn't have sales. I receive by email a sales that I don't have currently access because I'm not in the good company. I just click and I can open directly the sales. If you check in the companies, the company that I didn't have access was just checked. Like that, you don't need to interrupt your flow of work. The link is just open without errors, without anything. Come on. And the question that everybody asks, the developers all ask, is where is the model? Because they used to have the model in the URL. For that reason, we implement something. If you open the debug mode, you will see that now you have the model directly there. So it's still visible. You just need to click once in the debug menu. If you don't want to click in the debug menu, you always have here a pop-up for each field that show you the field and the model in which you are working on. So you don't need the model in the URL. So I'm going to show you also something that now it always exists, but now is a little easier to do, is that if you want, you can create specific search in the browser, and you can search directly for a task, and it's going to open that task. Before, you need to search in the URL which was the ID that you need to modify to be sure that put it correctly. Now you just need to put your URL, all tasks, / and the ID that you want. It's going to open directly the ID that you want. So a related work that also was shown this morning. If you open any record in the web client, in the URL web client, and you modify the Odoo to change to JSON, a JSON URL, a JSON format of that record is going to be shown. This work was done by another developer of the Python team, the Python framework team. So, thank you very much. If you have questions about this, here you can scan the code and ask your questions.
For your presentation, I will try to here and turn me a little bit towards the camera. That is there. So thanks a lot for the presentation. We have quite a few questions on the pad. The first question is something about you spoke, but we will ask it anyway. So, is there a parameter that can bring back the previous URL formats, such as a debug mode? With the full URL, it was more clear for developers to get action_ID, model ID, and other from the page we are.
Unfortunately, no, because we need to rework all the routing to create this new URL, so we cannot come back to the old ones. But for the action ID, it's not very complicated because it's directly in the URL. If I click here, you have the action ID just there. And for the model, as I told you, you can have here the model, you have the action, the view, and the search view. So you have all the information that you need in the debug menu.
Okay, thank you. So that's an example from someone. I have two types of users, back office and portal, managed by Keycloak. Is it possible to blacklist the back office for portal users without breaking the resources like CSS, EMG, etc.?
We need to discuss that with somebody that's more expert of the front end than me. Yeah, you can ask the question more in the developer's corner, because it's not really related to the web client, but I'm pretty sure that somebody can answer your question there.
Okay. Is it possible to pass the domain/context on the new URL format or filter?
Unfortunately, no. We maybe are going to discuss if we implemented this in the next stage, but we are not sure because it risks to be very big and not short and nice. We already did it, not for sharing, but in your own laptop you can stay with, for instance, if I open something here, if I search energy, okay, and I click, if I came back, it's going to keep the domain, but not for sharing, just in your own laptop because it's stored in the browser itself.
Okay, thank you. Is the search, such as filters, also stored in the URL?
No, this is the same, yeah. They still forget by a reload, because when you reload, you are really loading everything again, the action from zero, so everything is turned off, yeah.
Okay. Does the action tag have to be unique?
Yeah. The path that you put in the action must to be unique in all your we have some constraints that they are going to check if you put an action that already exists, because like that we know which action you really need with each path. It must to be unique, yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there specific actions to reset the breadcrumbs so they don't build up too much when navigating around? Can those be specified by code?
Yeah, you can specify it by code. We already did that. If you check, if you modify, you change something in the menu, we clean the breadcrumb each time. It's in the action service. We have a clean breadcrumb option. If you can clean it like that. So it's going to clean the breadcrumb, it's going to clean the URL. Now the URL are really in parallel with the breadcrumb. So if you clean the breadcrumb, the URL is going to be clean also.
Okay, next question. If I am in a debug mode, can I copy the model name by clicking on the menu option? What happens on the click?
Okay, if you click in the model here, you open the model. So you have all the information about the model, all the fields of the model, the access right, the record rules, really all what you need to develop.
How can I now preview the HTML and PDF versions of a report? Previously it worked through editing the URL.
I really don't know how to answer that question. I think you still can print it, I think. Sorry, it's me. I think you still have preview here, no. print PDF code. I think that still works correctly. If my computer wants to work like that. So I don't know if that was the question. If it's not the question, we can discuss after.
Okay, so another question, is the company shared between tabs?
Yeah, the company is in the CIDs, the company IDs were always in the cookies. But when you received an email or a URL and you click, it set the cookies. So they are still in the cookies, so they are shared between all the tabs.
Okay. What about CLDS missing in content of company-specific settings?
As I say, the CIDs are in the cookies, so they're not missing. You always have access to that cookies, to the cookies, so there's no issue like that.
Okay. Is it possible to easily authenticate from external system just to read data from Odoo using new JSON data of records?
No, you all easy to authenticate from external system. For the moment, I'm not sure that the authentication is done. I think you need to authenticate directly to the web client before, and they share the session ID. But I'm not quite sure about the development. I was not the developer of that part, but you can ask Juk if you saw it in the developer corner.
So we still have a few questions. A lot of models don't have user-friendly links. For example, if I add menu item for so line, but they have action with ID, which is less user-friendly as when we had a model name in URL.
Yeah, that's true. We added a bunch of new paths. We didn't add it for everything. We added mostly for the most common actions. But if you open in project, I think in CRM reporting pipeline, you are going to have action dash the ID of the action. So it's not as user friendly. If you don't want this in your company, or you want to change it, you can just modify the action here. In fact, you can go to action. If you have you can add a new parameter report. And if you reload, you can go to forecast, CRM, wrong, pipeline, and you can just add if you want a new path quite easily.
Okay. Is there, and what is the maximum length of the new URL?
I don't remember.
Complicated question.
It can be quite huge. I don't remember the max. Each browser have a max that you can put in the URL for security reasons. I don't remember exactly what the max is. It's quite rare to find the max using Odoo, because in one time you're going to switch of menu, and when you switch the menu, the breadcrumb is clear, so the URL is going to be clear also. But if I remember correctly, is I really don't remember, but I can check after what is the max. But the max, it depends of the browser.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody put it.
Okay.
2048.
2048.
Thank you.
The current company ID is in env is shared between tabs, or is the current company ID in env shared between tabs? So if I'm in company ID 1 on tab 1, can I open company 2 on tab 2?
As I say, it's not shared by the environment, it's shared by the cookies. So indeed, both are in both companies, so in both tabs. So you're going to have the same companies here that you have here. The difference is that, as before, the cookies are loaded when you connect the first time. So if here I modify the companies, I just put new company is going to be just in this tab, but in the other tab, both companies, they're still there. If I reload, I'm going to ask the new cookies again, and like the first tab, modify the cookies, I'm going to receive just one company and not both. This is the same behavior that we had before with the old URLs. The only part that company was changed is that if you receive an email or a link, or you click in a link with a company, the URL is not going to set your company as was done before.
A next question that probably will be the last because of the time. Is the path of an action unique?
Yeah, the path of an action must to be unique. It avoids conflicts between different actions. When you just know the URL, you need to be unique to load the correct action.
Okay, that was a short answer, so we'll ask you a next question. Is there a way to change the path word /Odoo back to /web or something custom?
Unfortunately, no. It's as I said before, we needed to modify all the routing to do this. So it's a new controller, so no, we cannot modify the /Odoo. It's not parameterable.
Do we still have some time for 2 quick questions?
No.
Okay, so if you have any other question, I invite you to come at the end to discuss with Jorge. And thank you very much for your listening, and thank you for your talk.
Thank you.